There a dirty little secret about dental podcasts? Actually, there is. And we're going to talk about that today, along with a ton of other things. We've got some great listener questions. Of course, our mystery shopper calls, some money saving tips. Could there even be more? Yes, there will be on today's episode of the Dental Practice Fixers podcast. Dr. Richard Madow. I'm your host. Thanks so much for joining me. We got so much great stuff today. Let's just get down to it. But first, I want to let you know a lot of people are concerned about the financial situation in the country right now. So I got a bunch of questions about overhead, and I'm just going to give you two quick tips from two companies that I love. The first is, of course, Stax. We've been doing our credit card processing with them for years because we don't have to pay that nasty overage fee, just a low flat monthly fee. We literally save tens of thousands of dollars by switching our credit card processing to Stax. So just go to madow.com/save and you'll learn more about how one phone call can do it for you too. Then it's on autopilot. You save every month, just like Debbie. So please do that. Secondly, you want to pick up just like a little spare pocket cash, as they say. Gold, as it is at an all-time high. It's the best time ever in history to sell your gold and your precious metals. If you've got dental scrap laying around, just go to madow.com/gold. You'll get hooked up with Southern Dental Refining. It's a small family-owned business, low overhead. They don't have all these crazy surcharges. They don't pay for two-page spreads in all the journals. Just the highest pricing I've ever seen paid to dentists for dental scrap. So go there. They'll send you a prepaid label. You throw your scrap in a lab box or an old Amazon box or whatever, and then you get the most absolutely for your dental scrap. Some practices I know have gotten five, six, $10,000 lately. So even if you don't get that much, great way to just get a little cash. Go to matter.com/gold. Okay, we're going to do a bunch of listener questions today. Then, of course, our mystery shopper calls. Let's start with this one. It says, Dear Rich, last year I purchased the practice of a retiring dentist, mainly for the charts. I love purchasing, I can't talk today, purchasing a practice for the charts. If you get a good price on that, it can be awesome. I've actually been pretty pleased with the number of patients who are coming in from this practice. The problem, most of them are dental neglect disasters. It's bad enough that they've never had a proper exam, but Dr. Jones, in quotes, apparently never took x-rays. And of course, one of my first purchases was a set of perio probes because Dr. Jones didn't even own any. Now I'm the bad guy for doing a proper diagnosis and treatment plan. When a patient says, Why didn't Dr. Jones ever tell me that? I just respond, Dr. Jones didn't take x-rays, but patients do not like hearing that. What do you suggest? I love the way they sign this. It's signed Flustered in Florida, like it's an old Dear Abby column. So I'll say, hey, Dear Flustered in Florida, why not continue with that theme? Okay, so first of all, I get it. A lot of people are flustered in Florida, but that's better than being frustrated, right? People are frustrated or frustrated everywhere. But here's rule number one of inheriting or purchasing a dental practice and charts, and it's a biggie. And that is don't throw the old girl or guy under the bus. Don't throw old Dr. Jones under the bus. You know, you got to remember no matter how many shortcuts or lack of diagnosis Dr. Jones may have taken, like maybe never even diagnosing anything, his patients probably loved him. I mean, he might have been saying good job and patting them on the back while decay was just growing like mushrooms in a cave in Segovia, but he was still their guy. So don't say anything bad about Dr. Jones. So what do you say when they hit you with, why didn't Dr. Jones tell me this? Or, I didn't have this last time I came in and I saw Dr. Jones or whatever. Try something like this. Say, well, I can't speak for what Dr. Jones saw at your last visit, but what I can tell you is what we're seeing today and how we can work together to get you healthy. So see what I did there? No throwing shade, no blame. You just shift the focus to today's appointment and you being their new trusted dentist. You can even add something like, we also know a lot more about the connection between oral health and overall health. So we're doing a much more thorough exam to catch things early. In other words, I'm doing things right, but I'm not going to say that Dr. Jones was a hack. I'm just not going to blame it on him. And of course, use patient-friendly language. I always say, pretend you're explaining to a smart fifth grader, but don't say that. But, good luck. Congrats on the practice or the charts purchase. But remember, don't blame Dr. Jones. Just say, I wasn't there when he did his last exam, but I can tell you this is exactly what we're seeing today. If you need to use radiographs or photos or models or whatever, please, please, please keep it on the level that a fifth grader can understand. Okay, we've got another question. It says, Rich, I love your ideas, but how do I get my team on board? That's from Dr. Halstead in Clawson, Michigan. Dr. Halstead, I hope everybody is flossing in Clawson. And I love this question. Getting your team on board with new ideas, sometimes it feels like herding cats. Like you can get them in the room, but are they going to pay attention? Not necessarily, but it doesn't have to be that way. So the goal is to make them to want to embrace this change rather than feeling like it's being forced on them and it's uncomfortable. So since Dennis loved checklists, I'll give you a little checklist. Number one, talk about the why before the what. In other words, a lot of resistance to change comes because they don't understand the bigger picture. Instead of just saying, hey, team, we're changing this, whatever, we're changing our scheduling system, we're changing the way we present treatment, whatever it is, explain why it's happening, why this change will make their jobs easier, make the patient experience better, help the practice grow in a way that benefits them. So when they see the personal benefit and their positive involvement in it, it's a lot less stress. And let's say if we do this, whatever the reason, we'll have less stress, our patient experience will be better, our days will be smoother, we'll be able to function better, we'll be happier. Hopefully we'll all be able to take some bonuses, whatever it is. Let them know why you're doing it in a way that involves them. Number two, actually involve them. Instead of just saying, this is what we're doing, my way or the highway, or even a lighter version of that, start right away by getting their input and their feedback. Something like, hey, team, we're looking at ways to streamline scheduling so we can avoid gaps and make the day run smoother. What are some things that frustrate you about the schedule? Who have some ideas about how we can improve the scheduling? Whatever it is, make them part of the process. Make them accountable, of course, but right from the get-go, before you start telling them what we're going to do, let's get everyone involved. Make them part of course, you have your end goal in mind, but if you want to get the team on board, let's get them involved from the get-go. Okay. Sometimes it's better not to do huge changes right off the bat, but do some small things first. So maybe don't try to roll everything out at once. Start small, one strategy, one tweak, one improvement, show them how the whole thing works. And once they see the results, they'll want more. And speaking of that, I think people underrate their team. Team members love a positive challenge. They love stepping it up, especially if it will make their job better, more meaningful, easier, whatever. So make it fun, but make it challenging too. Don't be afraid to challenge your team in a way that will benefit the practice and benefit them. And of course, number five, lead by example. Your team won't believe in the change until you believe in it and you stay consistent. You don't have to be perfect, but always make sure you are walking the walk, talking the talk, whatever it is. Leading by example is one of the simplest and most effective leadership rules. So, Dr. Halstead, great question. Here are 5 steps you can take to get your team involved and enjoying it and really embrace the change. Okay. Here's another question. I just got this question after I lectured in Arizona. I'm not going to name the person's name because they didn't give me permission, but I'll just say this is from a hygienist in Arizona. She said, hey, Dr. Rich, we have a cleaning crew that cleans twice a week. They arrive 15 to 25 minutes before the last patient is dismissed. So it's annoying to hear the vacuum and have them moving stuff around while a patient's in the chair. The docs just say, tell them to vacuum further down the hall. Oh no, man. Is there something witty I can say to them or otherwise that the docs might understand how this impacts a patient's experience? And again, that's from a friendly hygienist in Arizona. Man, this is nuts. I mean, I don't think it's cool to have the cleaning crew there while patients are still being seen. Besides all the noise, I think you might want to tell your doctor that if I were the patient, I'd feel like the last. Have you ever been the last customer in a restaurant and they know they want you to believe, to believe also, but to leave? And you're kind of having fun, but now they start putting the chairs on top of the tables and they're wiping everything down and they're vacuuming and they're staring you down. It's a horrible experience. I mean, this might be a silly question, but why not have the cleaning crew come 30 minutes later? This just doesn't work. You cannot have the cleaning crew there while your last patient's still being seen, or even next to last patient. So use this analogy for your doc, but I don't like this situation. I say get the cleaning crew to come in later. It just isn't going to work for me anyway. Okay, here's the last question I'll do today. I just laughed when I saw this, but 2 or 3 questions like this came in over the last week. And that is that, hey, Rich, I saw some podcasting poll, and the dental practice fixers was not in the top 25 dental podcasts. What's up with that? I guess some kind of survey was just published and we weren't in there. But here's the thing. This is the problem with all these online surveys and the social media posturing. It's like, I'll use a less crude term than I was thinking, but it's like a big, hey, you rub my back and I'll rub your back party. All these dentists who are, I don't know, I hate to use the term wannabe, but there may be wannabes. Look, let's face it, any idiot can start a podcast. The bar's really low. And then they just all get together on these surveys and vote for each other's podcast to be in the top 25. Well, here's the thing. As a podcaster, I actually have access to true live podcasting data. So I looked at this survey that I'm sure you're referencing. And yes, the dental practice fixers were not in the top 25. I looked at the data for each podcast. Most of them have like no listeners, and I mean none. They've got maybe a handful, maybe their relatives and their team are listening. There are a couple big dental podcasts in these surveys, but for the most part, out of what was considered the top 25, I would say 23 of them barely even exist. I mean, the dental practice fixers has consistently, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm just setting this straight. This is kind of the dirty secret of dental podcasting, that there are hundreds out there, but most of them are a true tree falling in the forest. Dental practice fixers is in the top 2.5% of all podcasts. All podcasts. So we've got a great group of people. We're listening. We're making changes. We're doing cool things. I'm not saying that it's not good to listen to a fledgling or a nascent podcast, one that doesn't have a lot of listeners, but they're just simply not in the top 25. And that's the problem with a lot of these polls. Everybody, they get together, they get in a big text chain, they say, hey, let's all vote for one another. I don't know. It's not accurate. I'm not saying they're bad podcasts, but Practice Fixers is consistently in the top 2.5% of all podcasts. So I think this answers your question. That's kind of the dirty secret about not just dental podcasts, but people go on Facebook or Twitter or X, whatever, and LinkedIn and just say, hey, we're one of the top dental coaches in the country, but they aren't. Anybody can go on these social platforms and say anything. So my point is, I've got nothing against people trying to start a business, but be careful who you get your advice from. There are companies out there, they advertise on LinkedIn or whatever to non-dental people saying, hey, I can teach you in one weekend to be a dental consultant. People who know nothing about dentistry, they probably don't even floss. And then they're calling themselves consultants. So just be really, really careful out there. Okay. Let's move on to our mystery shopper calls, but I just want to remind you, this is the best time ever to sell your dental scrap. So go to madow.com/gold, madow.com/gold to learn about that. Also, it's a great time to start saving money every month by not paying an overage fee when your credit card processing. Madow.com/save will take you there. And since I'm giving out all these Madow.com subdomains or whatever they're called, please sign up for my e-letter. A few times a week, you'll get incredible dental practice building tips into your inbox. Just go to madow.com/tips and you can do that. Okay. Today's mystery shopper calls. I just thought, let's call some practices. I'll pose as a new patient. I'll say that my last practice told me I needed fluoride, but I didn't feel like paying for it. But notice at the beginning of these calls, I say, are you accepting new patients? This is called a silver platter. I'm telling this office that I'm looking for a new dental practice. So do you think that they offered me an appointment? They better. Let's hope so. Let's start with this one.
Dentistry, this is Michelle. How can I help you?
Hey, Michelle. Well, first of all, are you taking new patients at your office?
Yes, there we are.
So I have a question for you. My last dentist used to tell me I needed fluoride after my cleanings, and there was like an additional charge for that. Do you do that at your office?
Yes, but it is optional.
Mm-hmm. So why would someone need fluoride?
It just helps kind of add another layer to prevent you from getting cavities.
I see. And also I remember for my kids, it was
covered by insurance, but not for me. Why is that?
I don't know. It's just that's how insurance works. Typically, some of them it's like below 18. They'll cover only below 18. Some it's below 15, but adults are not typically covered.
Got it. I mean, my dentist told me I had the teeth of a 17-year-old, and then I didn't think they should have charged me for fluoride.
Yeah, but that's always optional. You don't have to. We just, let you guys know it's probably best to prevent cavities. But if you choose not to avoid paying it, you don't have to get fluoride.
Got it. And how much is it?
$39.
Oh, that's not bad. All right, great. Well, hey, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Great. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Did she give the best answers of all time? No, but she was nice. She gave reasonably good answers. She was friendly. I'd want to go to an office like that. But remember, at the beginning of the call, I said, are you accepting new patients? Then I asked her a totally reasonable question about fluoride. And then in the end, she could have said, let's get you in for your examination and cleaning or a consult or whatever it was. She made no attempt to get me in the office, even though I told her I was looking for a new dentist. Sheesh. Answer the patient's questions, but don't get distracted about the real reason they called. I'm looking for a new dentist. I had a question about fluoride. Answer it and get me on the schedule. Okay, let's try another one. They can't possibly be that bad, can they? No way.
Dental care, this is Ashley.
Ashley, are you seeing new patients in your office?
We are.
Okay, so I've got a question for you then. My last dentist always used to tell me I needed fluoride after my cleanings, but then I had to pay extra for it because it wasn't covered. Do you do that at your office?
Fluoride, if not covered by your insurance, is $30.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and do you recommend that for your adult patients?
Typically, and it is recommended, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And why is that? So why is it recommended but insurance doesn't cover it? What's that all about?
Honestly, I'm not too familiar with why. I just know that the majority of insurances will not over the age of 18. Most of the time, children are covered. I can ask. I'd be more than happy to ask. Do you mind to hold and I can maybe find out a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. Awesome.
Yeah. Give me just a second.
Okay. So far, all right. I mean, I don't mind if she didn't know the answer. She's going to find out the right answer for me. That's fine. It's a lot better than hanging up. But I will say we're going to cut this hold time significantly so you don't have to listen to nothing. But I don't like it when you're put on hold and you hear nothing. I think it sounds like you got cut off. Again, I say this all the time. Have something on there. I don't care if it's horrible music. A generated on-hold message is best, but have something on there. No, I do not like horrible music. Have good music on, but nothing is bad. So I'm going to fast forward this, but I'm looking at my timer here. I was actually on hold for close to 3 minutes. That's not good. That's an invitation to hang up. So let's see if I can fast forward this.
So I spoke with our office manager. He's kind of familiar with the insurance policies more than I am. He said, honestly, there's, I guess, no real reason behind it. He kind of looked it up online, and the insurance companies have contracts that dictate what they will and will not cover. And it just says that adult fluoride treatments are relatively inexpensive, so that may be part of why it's not covered.
I thought they would cover something because it's inexpensive, but not something that's expensive. That's kind of crazy.
You would think.
Okay.
Yeah, you would think.
Okay.
But yeah, here in the office, we're not really sure. I'd contact your insurance company and see what their belief is on that, but it is recommended. There is benefit to doing it. Just not sure why insurance doesn't cover that kind of thing. Some do, some don't.
Okay. All right. Maybe if my name was Flo Rida, they would cover it, but I guess not. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. You have a great day.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Okay. Again, I'm not saying she handled the call amazingly well, but it certainly wasn't bad. But one thing she did that I don't like is she said you should go check with your insurance company. Once you like hang up on someone and tell them to go check with their insurance company. And as to why, what am I going to call the insurance company and say, why isn't fluoride covered? What kind of answer am I going to get there? That whole line of thought was ridiculous. But that's just something that it will put off me from ever calling that office back. If I actually start doing that project, I'm not going to call them back. And that's why at the very end, she should have offered me an appointment and maybe even given me a better answer as to why it's not covered. Again, I wouldn't say she was horrible. She was certainly friendly, which I always like. But and I don't mind that she went to get more information, although the whole time was horrendous, not acceptable. Um, all would have been saved if she offered me an appointment in the end, but she didn't. Let's do one more.
Family Dentistry. This is Haley. How can I help you?
Hey, Haley, I have a question. Well, my first question is, are you seeing new patients at your practice?
Yes. What type
Okay.
of insurance do you have?
That was my question for you. It's called Delta.
Mhm.
So my question was, I have this insurance. It's supposed to be pretty good, and my last dentist always told me I should get fluoride, but it wasn't covered. Is that the same policy at your practice?
It all depends on what your insurance covers as far as fluoride.
Okay. I'm guessing it's not covered because it wasn't covered at my other office either.
Right.
Right. So, like, how do I know if I need fluoride if it's not covered by insurance?
Hold on one second.
There's some really bad music. Remember what, like the first question she asked me? We're going to get back to that in a second because I think it was really important, really crucial. Wow, it's kind of
All right.
psychedelic.
So, if it's not covered by insurance, you would just typically pay for it out of pocket.
Oh, well, that explains it. Okay. And how much is it?
In our office, I do believe it ranges from $40 to $80.
Got it. Okay. I'll take 40. All right. Well, thanks.
You're very welcome.
Bye.
Wow, a few things about this call. First of all, I thought she seemed totally disinterested in talking to me. She just like answered with very curt one-word answers. I didn't think she was all that friendly. But the thing that really bothered me, before I even asked the fluoride question, I said, "Are you taking new patients?" That's like a gold question. Man, we want somebody calling and saying that. And how did she respond? What type of insurance do you have? Now, if I hear from dentists and team members all the time. They say our patients are so insurance oriented. They only want what insurance covers. They only want to talk about their insurance. Well, why? This is a prime example. This practice is so insurance oriented. The first thing she asked me was, are you taking new patients? What kind of insurance do you have? No, 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 no. Yes, we're taking new patients. We'd love to see you in our office. Let me tell you a little bit about us. Sounds like you're looking for a new dentist. Something. Sell the practice a little bit. Her first response was, what type of insurance do you have? Horrible at best. And she answered the fluoride question okay, and then no attempt at appointing me. Jeez. Yes, insurance questions are tough, but let's be prepared. Why doesn't my insurance cover fluoride? It's a great question. Insurance doesn't always cover everything that's best for your health. So, fluoride treatments, we really believe, are one of the simplest and most effective ways to strengthen your teeth and prevent cavities. So, even if it's not covered, we recommend it because it works. And also, in this office, we don't let insurance companies dictate the care we provide. You deserve the best treatment, whether it's covered or not. Let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Jones. Then make the appointment. All positive, positive, positive stuff. And we don't let insurance companies get between you and the best treatment for you. She did the exact opposite. Don't do the opposite. Do it right. Okay. I think that's enough for today. Thanks so much for listening to the Dental Practice Fixers. You can send me an email about anything. My email address is rich, R-I-C-H, at Madow, MADOW.com, or sign up for my e-letter. A few times a week, I'll give you some great practice tips. Just go to Madow.com/tips for that. I am Dr. Richard Madow, co-founder of the Madow Center. Thanks so much for being a listener to the Dental Practice Fixers, and I'll see you on the next episode.